welcome to the Other Part podcast where we explore differences through conversation. Just a reminder that this program is not meant for minors and that we're just having a conversation here. We're not telling you how to live your life as only you can make that decision. Today's topic is going to be on the price of happiness. Do we know what it takes to make ourselves truly happy? And are we willing to pay the price for it? According to the site verywellmind.com, happiness is defined as an emotional state characterized by feelings of joy, satisfaction, contentment, and fulfillment. While happiness has many different definitions, it is often described as involving positive emotions and life satisfaction. With this definition, let's get into it. My name is Mr. Fox, and I'll be hosting this conversation today. If you were asked the question, what does it take to make you feel satisfied and content with your life? What would your answer be? I've had this discussion with various people over the years, and I often phrase it in a different way, such as, what is the cost of your happiness? And each time they didn't understand what I meant. I then explained to them I simply wanted to know, what does it take for them to truly be happy in their life? That question they understood, but even then they had to think about it. Even after thinking about it for a while, they still struggle to answer the question because this is not something that people really think about. We tend to focus on short term goals such as we need to go to college, we need to finish college, we need to get a job, followed by getting a house, a car, and perhaps getting a family. But after you've gotten all that, what then? As the persons who normally struggle to give an answer, they simply gave me their priority list, which is what I just gave you, where they're listing out their life goals. And at the same time, those goals don't necessarily make you happy. Owning a degree isn't what makes you happy. Or as typically as when we go into college, we can't wait to get it over with. So it's more of like it's a chore or a stepping stone rather to get to the next phase. As if we could skip this step, most of us actually would. Let's take a look at it. We're going to college for 4 years or more in an institution where we're going to be cramming information out of a textbook, doing group projects with lazy team members, and forcing content to memory that you find boring. I'd say we'd skip it because let's put it this way, even if you are doing a degree that you love, based on the curriculum, there are certain courses within that degree that you will find boring. But however, it is mandatory per the curriculum for you to do it, and you do it because you have to. A lot of us, we actually don't want a job. We really don't. We only do it because we need the money to pay rent, to buy food, to take care of our expenses. Some of us, or should I say, very few of us, are very fortunate to have found the perfect job that is just absolutely right for us, where it actually brings us a great sense of joy and contentment. However, in the imaginary world, where the government gives you $300,000 per month, no strings attached, most of us would not work. After all, why bother dealing with the tiresome commute of going to and from work, dealing with your lazy or abusive boss, the tedious workload, and the mediocre pay? And don't forget dealing with that annoying coworker or those memorable customers, if you know what I mean. While some of us work for the sake of getting more money, while some will actually still go out and work, even with getting the $300,000 per month from the government, they're only doing it to get more money. They're not doing it because it brings them joy. They're just doing it for the money. And even then, more likely they will opt in to work part time versus full time, which goes back to what I just said. We actually don't want the job. We're often just there for the money, which is why I do find it rather ridiculous when human resources or whomever is conducting the interview asks the question, why do you want to work here? And every time they ask that question, the first answer comes to my mind is, because I want the money. Duh, why are you asking me this stupid question though? As if you don't know. But, eh. So most of us, we just do it for the money or because we're bored and can't find anything else to do with our days. So we just get a job for the heck of it. Thus, this job is nothing more than a daycare for adults. Therefore, I personally do not see one getting a true state of happiness, satisfaction, or contentment from any of the items that I listed above. Your degree will become outdated in a few years, and then you're going to have to do some type of course again or get a new degree. With work, you will want more money or you'll want a promotion, and everyone cannot be promoted, so thus that void will never be filled. Even if you do get a promotion, you may become unhappy with your workload or you learn some things about your job, your boss, your coworkers, or the company that eventually makes you unhappy, especially when there is absolutely nothing you can do about it to change it. Thus, if it's not one thing, it's another. If you say that your job is not just a stepping stone to happiness, then you know what that actually sounds like to me? It sounds like you're saying, I will commit the years of my youth to great suffering to end up on a vacation where I am too old to participate in anything much anymore. By the time you're retired, that's after the age of 55, you're not going to be interested in going to that concert that you want to go to today, on account of old age, that is. Let's take a look at it, right? You're of age pushing 60 or over 60. You're really going to be interested in standing up for 4 hours in a concert, screaming out your lungs? That's not going to sound appealing anymore. And that's just because of old age. And it's the same thing that's going to happen with hiking and traveling to certain places, as you are now restricted by old age and possibly various health conditions that's just going to restrict you from having any interest or being able to enjoy that experience. Yes, there are many elderly people out there who don't let their age stop them, but not all of us will be so fortunate as to be free as they are. The same thing is going to apply when it comes to marriage and kids. They're not truly what is going to make you happy because they will hurt you, they will disappoint you many, many times. And the definition used earlier, where we mentioned the word contentment, therefore you could say that it's subjective to say that you accept and embrace the flaws of your partner and children so that you will never be made unhappy with their action. We know that that is a lie. That is a lie. Simply because we're human beings, we're not perfect. That this is just not going to happen. So even though I've said all of this, these are the responses that they tend to give me when I ask them what is the price of their happiness. They're telling me about a job, a degree, a PhD, a master's, having kids, having a particular car, finding a lover. I don't think you understand the question because I don't see how having those things are going to really bring you happiness. You could have all the money in the world and not be happy. People online, they often make a comment to say that whoever saying that money doesn't bring you happiness must not know what it's like being broke. However, I've never seen a rich person who is actually happy, not even on TV or on the internet. Anyone that is said to be rich, they don't look happy. They're filled with anxiety and fear and a bunch of other stuff. They're not happy at all. You know who often looks happy? The persons that are like truly at peace with themselves. And those would be the nomads or the monks. That cliche image of that monk that lives way up in the mountains, who doesn't partake in the worldly pleasures, they don't care for material things, they don't own a lot of things, they just stick to the basics and cherish each and they just cherish each and every single day as is. Those are the persons that really look happy. Is it the case whereas we really don't have any idea as to what it takes for us to be truly happy, and we're all just mindless zombies following a routine to end up nowhere? As typically, it seems like we're just all working just to get our pension, and then that's it. We just work, get our pension, and die. As old age is seen as restrictions, medications, followed by death. Oftentimes, when people get to this age of retirement, they're so clueless about what it is that they should be doing with all of this free time and end up feeling so miserable due to it. From working over 40 hours per week to having all the free time in the world and not have anything to do with all of this time due to the many restrictions that they have due to age or medical conditions, which is really ironic. The one time in your life where you have all the time in the world, you can't do anything. Mind you, I am not saying that old age is a death sentence or that there is no joy to being old. It's just being used to really explore this topic at hand. At this point, some persons might say that if this is the way that I'm painting the picture, then why bother with life? Why bother with any of it? But to that I say, look in the mirror and find yourself and identify the lies that you've been feeding yourself all these years and answer the question of what is it that you really want out of your life and what can you do to live your best life. If we are truly able to do that, to be honest with ourselves, then we can truly begin to open up the doors to happiness. I'm not saying it's going to be easy because it's really not. Not in the least. Because there's a few things that you're going to have to face that will make you feel quite intimidated to look yourself in the eye once you realize it. At the same time, now that you acknowledge it, you can let the healing begin. For example, something that I've realized within myself is that I was way too dependent on others. I was afraid to do things alone. I depended on the validation of others, and this was me crippling myself from my own success. Therefore, I needed to get comfortable with doing things alone in order to get what I desire. No more Do I run to people first when I don't know something? In this day and age, we have the internet for that. So all I have to do is just research it and not take the lazy route and ask Dave or Nina, how do I do this or how do I do that? Also, by doing that, I was able to take it a step further and just go shopping alone. The mirror is there. I don't need anyone there with me to tell me if I look good in an item or clothing or not. My eyes work. The mirror is there. I know how I feel when I put it on. So, what do I need you for? I just have to be honest with myself and use my eyes. And I'll be able to answer that question for myself. After all, you can be wearing the latest fashion out there, but if you don't feel good in it, then you won't look good in it. And then you're going to be faced with comments like, the clothes look good, versus you look good in those clothes. And I actually want to look good in my clothes versus the clothes look good, but just not on you. As a result of me doing things on my own, my confidence, it grew. And I then began to achieve contentment. I know that I am content with things when someone attempts to make me question or feel bad about my choice. And I'm able to hold my head up high with pride and happiness that this is what I chose to do, and I don't have any regret at all with your view on the matter, and I'm not interested in changing my opinion or choices. Then this had the ripple effect on me where I started to speak up. I started to say no. I started to express my feelings and not shy away from a conversation, even when the person I'm interacting with does not understand me. I now simply just try again to explain it better. And I'm no longer afraid of people misunderstanding me. Now, I cannot tell you how to achieve happiness in your life because only you can actually answer that question. You actually know what exactly you want. You don't need anyone to tell you. You already know what you want. All you have to do is just look deeper and it will become clear. For me, I want to live a harmonious life. For that to happen, or rather, the price that I have to pay to live a harmonious life is as follows. I need to surround myself with people who bring me positivity and support to the life that I desire. Thus, I should not be afraid to cut ties with those who cannot do that for me. This doesn't mean that I won't talk to them anymore, it just means that their role in my life is different now. I won't be spending a lot of time with them, and some boundaries are definitely going to be put in place. This also means that I need to be accepted and embraced as is, not for who I was, not for who I aspire to be, not even for who you want me to be, but for who I am today. I am simply me and can be no one else. So, if someone cannot accept that, then thank you so much for everything that you've brought into my life. But your role ends here. You've been simply amazing in molding me into the man I'm working to be, and I wish you all the happiness in the world that you can take. And that's it. I also need to let it go, and I also need to mind my goddamn business. Looking back, I've seen that there are quite a few things that I have invested so much energy into. And in the end, It really doesn't matter, and it's none of my business, but yet I wasted so much energy into it. It's embarrassing. All of that energy, it could have been redirected to my mental health. Instead, it was wasted on someone who doesn't even know that I even exist. Minding my business also means that I need to remember, acknowledge, and accept that we all walk the journey of life alone and at our own pace. Therefore, I need to stop crucifying those who do things that I don't approve. We're all humans, we're not perfect. People change in time when they're ready to. And I too did things in the past that I'd never do now. I've already crossed that road in the journey of the life, and it's now their turn to cross that road, just like I did. Another thing that I need to do is that I need to accept that you can never truly compete with someone else. Because what you're really doing is you're just trying to be like them, but you can never be them. You can only be yourself. So, therefore, it's way better and more efficient for you to compete with yourself versus waiting for someone to do something for you to just copy what they did and just do it better, faster, stronger, or produce more by imitating them versus you striving to be better than how you performed yesterday. In order for me to be understood, I must be willing to understand. Another thing that I want to achieve is to be understood. For me to, another thing that I want to achieve is to be understood. For that to happen, I must be willing to understand and also explain myself clearly, as you can't demand something you can't return. As if you understood each other, then there wouldn't have been any disputes in the first place. Oftentimes, we go through life saying, they should have known, yet they're clueless. The best results with communication will be achieved by simply removing the expectation that they should have known that detail. Another thing that I need to do is I need to be honest with myself and stop entertaining situations that make me unhappy. Life is too short to fill it with undesirable situations. I don't have to tolerate that crappy work environment. I don't have to spend the days of my youth slaving away until retirement. However, if I don't put in the strategy and the work needed, then I am destined to work beyond the age of retirement just to make ends meet. From what I have also observed, perfection is a myth. Perfection is a myth that pollutes the mind to have you to embark on a never ending quest that leads to nowhere. This is because there's always room for improvement, and if perfection existed, it simply can't be improved. So, therefore, simply striving to do it next time is much more achievable than aiming for perfection itself. In understanding my flaws and shortcomings, I will empower myself to create a strategy for success that is compatible with me and only me. So I cannot look at what someone else did. I cannot look at what strategy someone else used. So I need to stop comparing myself to others and just focus on me. I also need to stop being delusional to myself. What this means is that I need to accept and embrace that yes, I will make mistakes. I will get it wrong. I will mess up. I will fail. And that is perfectly fine. There is absolutely nothing wrong with making a mistake. There's nothing wrong with getting it wrong. There's nothing wrong with messing it up. There's nothing wrong with failing. Because all of this is here to teach you a lesson so that the next time you can do it better and then gain success. There's so many other scenarios that can be used to answer this question of what is the price of your happiness. But what I can recommend is that we just be realistic and honest with ourselves about what it is that we truly want versus what we need. And then we're going to have a conversation with ourselves about what it would take for us to get what we want or what we need, and then create a strategy as to what it is that we can do in order to achieve it without any regrets. And of course, we can't be hasty and we cannot lie to ourselves. And once we've done that, we'll be able to answer the question of what is the price of your happiness? And then